What's going on, everybody? It's the Creative Fro, checking back in for another episode of Fireside Tech. I hope you enjoyed your week and are ready to learn something new, because today we're going to be diving behind the camera and I'm going to be showing you an audio comparison in between the 5 key microphones. If you didn't see, this past Wednesday we posted a video going over 5 different microphones for video creation. I went into detail about what the different microphones are, what they do, and what I wish I knew about them when I first started out. So today, we're going to be diving behind the camera and doing the audio comparison to get a better understanding of how these microphones actually work and sound in comparison side by side. But before we dive into today's tutorial, don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button if you have yet to already, and also turn that notification bell on just for fun. For today's tutorial, we'll be using 3 different video settings in order to compare these microphones. So the first setting we'll be in is outside, where I'll be having a vlog style going on so you can hear the difference between the microphones outside. And then after that, we'll come inside into the creative space and I'll do a locked off tripod shot like I would do for What I Wish I Knew Wednesday. And we'll do a screen recording on the computer and go through the different microphones in those scenarios. So why don't we get our stuff ready and jump outside and start this tutorial. So right now, for test number 1, this is the built-in microphone that I'm using on the camera right now. So you're gonna hear a lot of external sounds from the cars that are driving by and the wind that's going on right now. So this wouldn't be an ideal option to go with for vlogging because you're gonna pick up a lot of extra sound. So let's switch up the sound to an external microphone and hear the difference. So now we have the external mic hooked up to the camera, and this is going to be a lot better of a sound because what I have control of is the high and low pass filter. So I turn on the high pass filter, and you also get control of the decibel if you want to up it or lower it. So right now, since I'm in a louder environment, I upped it to plus 20 decibels, and that way my voice should be more clear and the sound behind me should be more muffled out. So that's the external microphone. Let's try a lavalier. So now we have our lavalier microphone on, and I added the windscreen to this. As you can see, this little fur. And now this is gonna help any of that extra wind and the cars that are passing by. It's gonna muffle that sound down just like it did on the external microphone. And you get a better, more clear audio signal this way. So the wireless lavalier microphone would be a good idea to use if you're trying to do a documentary style, or say you're following somebody and you wanna have them mic'd up to get the audio while they're away. This would be a great option to go with, and you're gonna get a clear, consistent sound up to 100 meters. Now, you could use the wired lav that I have too as well, but that's just gonna give you a restriction and you're gonna have a lot of cord hanging around. So I would suggest the wireless lav over the wired. Let's go to the handheld. Now this isn't gonna be an ideal setup because it's kind of weird holding 2 items in each hand. This doesn't really feel as natural. So I would suggest having a setup where you're walking around maybe asking people questions and you can point the microphone directly to their voice to pick up a clearer sound. Or if you're in a pinch, your microphone broke down, you could use this to finish up a vlog or get a video done. But since you have to sync this audio to the camera in post, that makes it a little bit harder when you're in post-production trying to match these sounds together. So that's another reason why I would suggest not necessarily using a handheld microphone when you're in a vlog situation or on the go like this. Like I said, the external mic and the wireless lavaliers are both a good option in these scenarios. So this is the handheld mic, and hope you got a good sound out of this. Let's head back into the creative space so we can do an indoor comparison, because this is very cold and we don't want to freeze out here. So let's get back and we'll finish up this comparison. I was so cold out there, I totally forgot the last microphone to compare it to, and that's the condenser microphone. And clearly an outside location, having this microphone with a big long cord to connect to a computer on the go is not going to be ideal. So therefore I would not use a condenser microphone in an outdoor scenario where you need to vlog or do anything outdoors like this. So condenser microphone is a no-go in this scenario. I made it back inside into the nice warm creative space, and we're ready for the second round of comparisons. Now in this comparison I'm going to be using the built-in microphone, so you probably can't hear me too well, which is why I'm picking up my voice a little bit more because the camera is far away. Let me actually show you how far away we are. So I'm over here and my camera is over there about, I would say, a good 3 or so meters away from me. So in this situation where I have the camera locked off as I would normally do What I Wish I Knew, Fireside Tech, I wouldn't use the built-in microphone for this scenario. But if I was a little bit closer to the camera, or I was recording someone sitting here and brought this camera closer, it would be a much better option. So why don't we put on that external microphone and see how different the sound sounds compared to that. So now we have the Rode external microphone attached to the camera, and this should sound a lot better compared to that built-in microphone. The reason being is because the external microphone, you're able to have more capability with the function changes on the back. So where I was outside and I was at a high pass filter at plus 20 decibels, now I'm indoors at a high pass filter at negative 10 decibels. Because the sound is not as loud in here, I just have subtle sounds in the house, such as fans, water, and things like that. So this should be a good setting. Or another good setting could be right at 0. So I'll put this at 0 so you can hear the difference from negative 10 to 0. So now we have this camera external microphone set to 0 and the high pass filter is on, and you should hear a slight difference because now it's not manipulating the decibels, it's at a set 0. I would say this is a check mark to use the external microphone in a scenario like this because the sound is going to be picked up more clear, and in post you can drag up the volumes if you need a little bit more loudness in those shots at all. Let's try switching to a lavalier mic and see how that sounds compared. So here is our wireless lavalier mic. Now, the reason why I like the wireless lavalier so much, because like I said outside, you get this 100-meter range from the camera, and it sounds like the camera is right next to your face without being that close. So you get real good sound from far away, and it stays consistent. And with this wireless lavalier setup, it has a really strong signal between it, so it's hard to lose that connection, so you get a steady audio connection throughout the whole time. Now, a downside to this can be if you have any ruffling of shirts or any kind of movement, you might pick up that extra sound. So I suggest putting on the foam piece or getting some tape and taping around that microphone to negate some of those sounds in case you're going to use this at a conference, if you want to mic up a speaker or anything like that. So keep that in mind if you're going to go with the wireless lavalier mic setup. I would say for this scenario, the wireless lavalier microphone would be a fantastic option to choose because you get so much flexibility and you get a consistent sound without being so close. Now for comparison, let me put on the old wired lavalier microphone that I used to always use before we upgraded to this, so you can hear the difference between that one too as well. So I just realized in editing that I didn't press record when I put in the wired lav. So I have the wireless lavalier on me now. I do have some proof that I did try to record this part. I had my iPhone clip showing how long the cord was, but I didn't actually press record on the actual camera itself. So now you get a better comparison between the wireless and wired lavalier microphones. This was a go-to for a long time, so I'd highly recommend this wired lavalier in a situation where it's locked off. If you have a good enough distance away from you and the camera when it's locked off that the cord isn't too tight, this would be a good option to go with if you don't want to spend the money on a wireless lavalier setup. So I would say in this scenario, the wired lav would be a thumbs up for me. And here we have the handheld microphone. This won't be a bad option if you're on a locked off tripod situation like this, because you have a free hand, well, you really have two free hands that you can use to hold the microphone. The only problem is you have to kind of hold it in the same location to have that consistent sound as you would get from the external microphone, the wired lav, the wireless lav, and even the built-in microphone, because it stays consistent at that one area. So by using this microphone, I would suggest holding it in one area and continuing to hold it there rather than moving it around as you're talking, because now you can hear the variance in my voice. So if you want to even hide this microphone, you can hold your hand down here a little bit lower, and now we can crop in this video, and now you don't see the hand anymore. Just want to speak maybe a little bit louder so the microphone picks up your voice, or you can change the gain on here so your voice is picked up better while you hold it lower. This wouldn't be my first option to go with if I was doing a locked off tripod shot, but it could get the job done because you can crop it out and make it look a certain way if you're going for that look. Or if you want a newsy feel, you can hold it right underneath your face like this and talk to the camera this way. I don't see anybody do videos like that, so that could be your own style of making your own videos and separating yourself from the crowd. So for me, I wouldn't use this in this situation, but for you, it might work, and it does sound good at the end of the day. So that's your decision to make. Just remember, in post, you have to match this audio with your video's audio to make sure the sound is connected and the voice isn't off when the video is played back. Now for our last microphone comparison, let's get the condenser microphone set up. Let's go. Okay, so right now, as you saw, I just clapped 3 times, and that's something you'll have to do if you're using a condenser microphone to match the video audio to this microphone's audio. And those 3 claps is going to spike in your program, so that way your computer can recognize that it needs to match these 2 clips together. So it makes it easier in post when you go to put these clips together. For this setup, I don't necessarily like to have the Yeti microphone because it's kind of big and in the way. So if I was doing a locked off tripod shot like this, I personally wouldn't like it that way. But if you don't mind having a microphone in your shot, this could be the ideal microphone setup for you because it's nice and close to your face, so you're going to get a clear, crisp sound while the camera still has some distance away from you. Some downsides we do get with this microphone though is you can't take it outside portably. The only way you can do that is if you have a laptop setup and a computer setup to keep everything stable. See, when we were outside doing the vlog, this wouldn't be ideal because it's not going to be able to move around and have a setup like this. But in this situation where we have the camera over here and the microphone on a desktop like this, so with the cord being right here, it goes right into the computer and the audio is being captured right into the computer so I can match it up and post later. And another reason I don't like to use this microphone in a situation like this is because it's off to one side. So you're kind of hearing my voice from a side profile. See now where I look at it, and this sounds a lot more clear than me speaking this way. So that's another reason why I didn't necessarily enjoy using the Yeti microphone for videos like this. And you do pick up a lot of extra tapping and sound movements as you move around because I do kind of twist and turn in my videos and that sound is picked up. It kind of messes up the audio from time to time. For me, this microphone would not be a go-to in a locked off situation like this because you're not getting consistent sound from my voice since it's coming from the side, and I have to take extra time in post to match these together. So I'd rather just have the camera collect the audio right into it, and that way in post I could just get straight to editing and not have that extra step to do. So how about we move to our third scenario where I'll be doing a screen recording, and I'll be facing the computer here as if I were doing a screen recording, and we'll hear the difference between each microphone in that situation. Right now I'm mocking a screen recording and I'm using the built-in microphone. Let me just turn off the autofocus. So now that autofocus is off and you can't hear the extra autofocus sound, this wouldn't be an ideal microphone to use in a screen recording situation because I'm going to be having a screen recording going, which is then going to have to be matched to the voice of this clip, and the more steps you have to do in editing makes it a little bit harder. So the less steps the better. You're not getting a clear sound because it's coming through the camera's microphone, which isn't the most highest quality microphone you could choose. So if I were to be on the computer here doing a Final Cut Pro tutorial, I wouldn't go with a built-in microphone because we can get a much better sound with different options rather than using this microphone. And it's kind of weird just having your camera here speaking to it. I don't really necessarily know where would be an ideal place to put it, so if anything it's kind of just getting in the way. Let's switch this up and try using an external microphone. So now I have set up my camera right in front of my face, and I'm going to use this microphone as a comparison between the built-in microphone. So this should sound a lot more clear because it's right underneath my voice here, which is an ideal spot to have a microphone when trying to get clear sound. Now again, I wouldn't have to go through these extra steps of matching this sound to the video record that I'm doing because then it can be off sync and that makes it look a little bit more unprofessional. So for consistency reasons, I wouldn't use this setup. But as I said again, if in a pinch I was on the road trying to do a screen recording and I didn't bring my Yeti microphone setup, I could have this set up like this right in front of my face and we could still get some pretty clear sound by using this setup. So why don't we compare this sound to the handheld mic? Okay, so right now I have the handheld microphone in my hand and I'm getting ready to do a screen recording. So this I don't think would be a good idea to use because you have one hand to use for the computer, which could be a little bit difficult when actually trying to do a screen recording because typically I'd be having two hands down on the computer and editing. Another option you could do is maybe tilt this up and leave it in front of you like this, and this could work possibly too as well, but I wouldn't really want to have this set up because if it falls down, then it's going to make the editing process a little bit harder because trying to take out those unwanted sounds can muddy up the rest of the audio. So I wouldn't necessarily use a handheld microphone in a screen recording situation because of this. I think this handheld option would be best if you're going around interviewing people or after an event getting testimonials of people. You can give them this microphone and capture great sound while you have a video camera on them. So for the handheld microphone on a screen recording setup is a no-go. So I've just switched up to the wireless lavalier microphone, and this would be a great setup to use for a screen recording because now I have both hands free and I'm getting great clear sound right from underneath my voice. Now, if I'm doing a screen recording, my hands aren't typically going to get in the way. So I would say using a wireless lavalier when doing a screen recording would be a great idea because you get more freedom and you know your sound is going to be clear through the wireless lavalier setup. Now, the only reason why I wouldn't choose the wired lavalier microphone is because I'm going to have a cord in my way. So possibly if I'm turning or move or make a sudden movement, that could possibly knock over the camera. So in a pinch, if you did want to use your wired lavalier microphone to do a screen recording, that would be a good idea too as well. So now why don't we switch over to the condenser microphone and see how it sounds compared to the rest. So here is our condenser microphone, and this is always my go-to when doing any screen recording. Hands down, by far most favorite. So I wouldn't really suggest any other microphone in this situation unless you're in the pinch and you want to use something else, but this gets a clear, direct sound of my voice because I changed the setting to solo, so it's just collecting the sound from here. Now this is probably the most clear voice beside the wireless lavalier microphone that you're going to hear, and this is where the microphone really shines because it is ideal for these kind of setups. Or as I stated before, if you have a podcast or multiple people, you can set this up in front of the speakers and you can change the settings to make sure that it's collecting sound from all around your microphone. This microphone is also an ideal setup for when doing voiceovers. Say you need to do a couple of voiceover pieces for a little short film or for a project you're putting together, you can get your setup set up on the desktop and just speak right into the microphone like this. So in those scenarios, that's where this microphone really comes in handy, and I would 100% recommend this in a setup like this. And I almost forgot, the last thing I do really like about this microphone setup is that when you're recording on the screen, the audio from this microphone goes with that screen recording, and that way there's no reason to clap. The only reason why I clap before is to match this audio to this microphone. So that's the one thing I really do like about it that I forgot to mention. That makes it easier for us creators out there to not have to go through and synchronize our audio. So there's the comparison between the 5 key microphones in 3 different scenarios. I hope everyone has now a better understanding on how these microphones really sound compared in each different location and can make a better idea of what one you want to choose when upgrading your microphone. Please like this video if you did, comment down below if there's anything you want to see for Fireside Tech, and share this video if you think it can help anybody. I hope you enjoy your upcoming week and crush it. I can't wait to see you next Sunday back in front of that fire again. Until then, it's a Creative Fro, and I'm out.